गुड आफ्टरनून फ्रेंड्स, वेलकम टू माय यूट्यूब चैनल जेपीएससी फॉर यू। सो लास्ट वीडियो पे पेपर वन का हमने पॉलिटी शुरू किया था विद द फर्स्ट चैप्टर कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल डेवलपमेंट ऑफ इंडिया। सो अप टू 32 क्वेश्चंस वी हैव सीन देयर। सो नाउ अब वी विल गो विद अदर क्वेश्चंस फ्रॉम 33। सो मीनवाइल रिक्वेस्टिंग यू टू प्लीज डू सब्सक्राइब माय चैनल. So let's start with question number 33. Who of the following was not the member of the interim national government formed in August 1946 AD? Who was not a member पूछ रहा है तो ऑप्शन सर सी राजागोपालाचारी, डॉक्टर राजेंद्र प्रसाद, डॉक्टर एस राधाकृष्णन एंड जगजीवन राम. So according to question C, S Radhakrishnan was not the member of interim government. C. Rajagopalachari, according to the Cabinet Mission Declaration, an interim government was constituted on 2nd September 1946 from the newly elected Constituent Assembly. C. Rajagopalachari was the Education Minister, Dr. Rajendra Prasad was Food and Agriculture Minister, and Jagjeevan Ram was the Minister of Labour. And this question, Jagjeevan Ram was Minister of Labour, I think ये question 67 BPSC के PT में भी पूछा गया है. So from a question you can have multiple questions that can be made. So हर एक options should be learned carefully. ये दो question थोड़ा blurred है, other questions are good. Now according to the Wavell plan, the number of Hindus and Muslims members in the executive council was to be equal, and reason was Wavell thought that this arrangement would have avoided the partition of India. Or you can from option A, B, C, and D. Option C is the correct option because option C is the correct option because वेवल का कुछ भी इरादा नहीं था कि पार्टीशन को रोका जाए. In October 1943, Lord Wavell, who had succeeded Lord Linlithgow as Governor General, made an attempt to resolve the deadlock in India. He went to England for consultation in March 1945. There he thoroughly discussed with British government about Indian administration and made some proposals. In June 1945, his proposals were made public by the name of Wavell Plan. So Wavell Plan कब आया था? June 1945 में. He proposed restructuring of the Governor General's Executive Council, which would have balanced the representation of the Indian communities, including equal proportion of Muslims and Hindus. All the portfolio except defense were to be held by Indian members, including Foreign Department. The Wavell Plan proposed an equal representation of Hindu and Muslims in the Executive Council. Apart from Viceroy and Commander-in-Chief in the Executive Council, all members were Indian. Thus, it is clear that Wavell Plan was intended to resolve the deadlock on constitutional matters and political issues, and to promote the self-government for Indians, but never intended to unite the Hindu-Muslim to avoid partition of India. Thus, the statement is true, but reason is false. So, correct answer will be C. Now, question 35. Who gave the idea of a constituent assembly firstly for the formation of Constitution for India? So, this idea was given by option A, Swaraj Party 1934, Congress Party 1936, Muslim League in 1942, All Parties Conference in 1946. So correct option will be Swaraj Party, which was held in Ranchi in 1934. The Swaraj Party formed at Ranchi in May 1934 sought the right of self-decision or self-rule. Swaraj का मतलब ही होता है self-rule, and made a proposal for a constituent assembly. This was to be composed of Indian representative elected on the basis of adult suffrage. It was the first occasion when Indians demanded for a constituent assembly. Now moving on to the next question. Question number 36. Which of the following statement is not true in relation to the constituent assembly? The assembly was not based on adult suffrage. Assembly was a result of direct election. Assembly was a multi-party body. Assembly worked through various committees. So, not true पूछ रहा है तो इसको not based on. So, options are 1 and 2, 2 and 3, 1 and 4, 1, 2, 3 and 4. So, which are not true. Therefore, not based on adult suffrage or direct election नहीं हुआ था. So, option will be 1 and 2. The legislative assemblies of states were used as electoral college for the formation of constituent assembly. In this way, the constituent assembly was a result of an indirect election. Peoples of several parties were involved in it. Constituent assembly formed a number of committees to operate its working. Now, next question: Which one, which one among the following is an incorrect statement about the constituent assembly? Incorrect statement बताना. So we will be very carefully. Option A: It worked with the help of a large number of committees, the most important among them being the drafting committee. सही है. Minority committee less Christian, Anglo-Indians and Parsis were adequately represented in the assembly. Right? It was elected on the basis of universal adult franchise. So ये नहीं होगा. Its electoral process was based on the sixth schedule, the Act of 1935, which allowed for a restricted franchise based on tax, property, and educational qualification. So the correct option will be C. ये नहीं था. The member of Constituent Assembly were elected by the members of Legislative Assembly province on the basis of indirect election, not by the direct election. Now, question 38. Member of Constituent Assembly who drafted the Constitution were nominated by British government, nominated by Governor General, elected by legislative assemblies of various provinces, elected by Indian National Congress and Muslim League. So we've seen C will be the correct answer. Same written here. The last line is important है. ठीक है, we will read it from the beginning. Members of the Constituent Assembly were elected by the members of legislative assemblies of various provinces. Each provinces and each Indian state or group of states were allotted a total number of seats proportional to their respective population, roughly in the ratio of 1 to million. As a result, the provinces were to elect 292 members, while Indian states were allotted a minimum of 93 seats. So, ये दो data important है. Now, question 39. With reference to Indian history, the members of the Constituent Assembly from the provinces were directly elected by the people of those provinces, nominated by Indian National Congress and the Muslim League, elected by provincial legislative assemblies, selected by the government for their expertise in constitutional matters. We have seen C will be the correct answer. Same written here. How were the members of Constitutional Assembly elected? So same repeated question by provincial assemblies. Who was the first elected chairman of Constituent Assembly? Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, Dr. Sachidanand Sinha, Dr. Rajendra Prasad and Dr. S. Radhakrishnan. So Dr. Rajendra Prasad will be the answer. We'll see the details below. Dr. Sachidanand Sinha temporarily chaired the first meeting of the Constituent Assembly, which was held in 9 December 1946. The Constitution Assembly re-elected Dr. Rajendra Prasad as permanent chairman on 11 December 1946. Dr. Rajendra Prasad's name was proposed by J.B. Kripalani. So, again, ये भी पूछता है कि टेम्पोरली किसने हेल्ड किया था, तो सच्चिदानंद सिन्हा will be the answer. Who chaired the first meeting of Constituent Assembly? First meeting. So, in this, Dr. Sachidanand Sinha will be the answer. The first day session of Indian Constituent Assembly was chaired by same Dr. Sachidanand Sinha. Who was the chairman of Constituent Assembly? अभी हमने देखा डॉक्टर राजेंद्र प्रसाद was the chairman. Who was the President of Constituent Assembly of Independent India? Just we have seen Dr. Rajendra Prasad. Question 46. Constituent Assembly of India was established on 9 December 1946. अभी हमने देखा 9 December 1946 temporarily it was chaired by Dr. Sachidanand Sinha, and on 11 December J.P. Kripalani proposed the name of Dr. Rajendra Prasad. So the Constituent Assembly, which has been elected for undivided India, held its first meeting in 9 December 1946. The Constituent Assembly is reassembled on 14th August 1946 as the Sovereign Constituent Assembly for the Dominion of India. When was the Constituent Assembly established? Same December 1946. So घटना चक्र से करने का एक बेनिफिट है कि रिपीटेड क्वेश्चंस आता है तो बार बार एक ही चीज़ पढ़ने से चीज़ें दिमाग में बैठ जाती हैं. When was the first session of the Constituent Assembly held? 9 December 1946. When did the Indian Constituent Assembly meet for the first time? Same 9 December 1946. The resolution for giving a constitution to India was adopted by the Constituent Assembly on 22nd January 1946, 22nd January 1947, 20th February 1947 and 26th July 1946. So answer will be option B. We'll see the details. On 22nd January 1947, a resolution for Constitution of India was unanimously adopted by the Constituent Assembly, which was presented by Jawaharlal Nehru on 13 December 1946. Question number 51. Who proposed the preamble before the drafting committee of the Constitution? Options: Jawaharlal Nehru, B.R. Ambedkar, B.N. Rao and Mahatma Gandhi. So answer will be Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru. Let's see. The proceedings of the Constituent Assembly started with the objective resolution. तो ये भी पूछता है. Presented by Jawaharlal Nehru on 13 December 1946. The objective resolution was unanimously passed on 22nd January 1947. Later, this objective resolution turned to be the preamble of Constitution. तो ऑब्जेक्टिव रेजोल्यूशन किसने पास किया था? पंडित जवाहरलाल नेहरू ने. दिस इज ऑल्सो इम्पॉर्टेंट. हु ऑफ द फॉलोइंग प्रेजेंटेड द ऑब्जेक्टिव रेजोल्यूशन? पंडित जवाहरलाल नेहरू. B will be the answer. In relation to the formation of Constitution of India, which of the following statements are correct? So, resolution of objectives by Nehru affected the making of the Constitution. Preamble fulfills various important objectives, aims. People of India ordered, directed the Constitution. Head of the state is elected by people directly. So इसमें पूछा है correct है. So head of the state is not elected in India by directly. It is elected by the proportional. जैसे अपना president का election होता है, that is the head of the state. So पता है president का election directly नहीं होता है, is done by indirect election. So A will be the correct answer. Under Indian Constitution, the head of the state, that is the president, is non-elected by the people directly, but by people representative, which include elected members of both the houses of parliament, elected member of the state legislative assemblies of all the states, including Indian territories. How many sessions of Indian Constituent Assembly were conducted for the formation of Indian Constitution? 7, 9, 12, 15. So 12. मतलब 11 सेशन हुआ था और 12वें में सबका साइनिंग हुआ था. The Constitution takes 2 years, 11 months and 18 days. This is also important to complete its historic task of drafting the Constitution. During this period, there were 11 sessions covering a total of 165 days. Apart from these 11 sessions, one more session was held on 24 January 1950, in which the members appended their signature. how much time the Constitution Assembly took place to frame the Constitution. So it will be 2 year, 11 months, and 18 days. Match list, express list one. First Vice President of Constituent Assembly. Originally, the only Congress member of Drafting Committee. Member of Constituent Assembly representing Rajasthan's Princely State. Chairman of Union Constitution Committee. The first president was, I think, H.C. Mukherjee. Was only Congress member, MNC. Member of Constituent Assembly representing Rajasthan Princely State at P.T. Krishnamachari, and chairman was Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru. First vice chairman H.C. Mukherjee, only Congress member K. Munshi. Representative of Rajasthan Princely State P.T. Krishnamachari, and chairman Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru. Now next question number 57. Who among the following was the chairman of the Union Constitution Committee in the Constituent Assembly? We have seen it. Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru. Now this fact is very much important. This is a question after. We'll go through. Constituent Assembly formed Union Constitution Committee with other prominent committee. Jawaharlal Nehru was the chairman of Union Constitution Committee. The other committees and the chairman were Committee on the Rule of Procedure, Dr. Rajendra Prasad. Steering Committee, Dr. Rajendra Prasad. States Committee, Dr. Rajendra Prasad. Drafting Committee, Dr. B.R. Ambedkar. Advisory Committee on Fundamental Rights, Minority, Tribal and Excluded Areas, Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel. This committee had two subcommittees. Advisory Committee on Fundamental Rights था, उसका दो और committee था. First one is Fundamental Rights Subcommittee, headed by J.B. Kriplani, and Minority Subcommittee headed by H.C. Mukherjee. Union Power Committee, Jawaharlal Nehru. Union Constitution Committee, Jawaharlal Nehru. Provincial Constitution Committee, Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel. Question 58. Who was the chairman of the Provincial Constitution Committee of the Constituent Assembly? Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru, Dr. Rajendra Prasad, Sardar Patel. Pandit Sardar Patel. Chairman of Provincial Constitution Committee. यहीं पर ऊपर लिखा हुआ है. So correct answer will be Sardar Patel. The chairman of Drafting Committee of the Indian Constituent Assembly, Dr. B.R. Ambedkar. Who was the chairman of the Drafting Committee? This is a very important question being asked to Dr. B.R. Ambedkar. Who was the chairman of Advisory Committee on Fundamental Rights and Minorities constituted by the Constituent Assembly? You know it's Sardar Patel. Option B will be the correct answer. The drafting committee of the Constitution Assembly under Dr. B.R. Ambedkar had how many other members? So there were 6 other members. We'll go through the names of the 6 members. There were 6 other members in the drafting committee constituted under the chairmanship of B.R. Ambedkar. Members were N. Gopal Swamy Iyengar, Alladi Krishna Swamy Iyer, K.M. Munshi, Muhammad Sadullah, B.L. Mitra, and D.P. Khetan. In place of B.L. Mitra and Madhav Rao, and after the death of D.P. Khetan in 1948, T.T. Krishnamachari was included in the committee. Who among the following were the members of the drafting committee of the Constitution? Gopala Swamy थे, Jawaharlal Nehru, Alladi Krishna Swamy, Sardar Patel. So 1, 2 and 4, 1 and 4, 1 and 3, 2, 3 and 4. Correct answer will be C. As you know, Sardar Patel and Jawaharlal Nehru were not among the six members. Who among the following was not a member of the drafting committee of the Constitution? Muhammad Sadullah, K.M. Munshi, A.K. Iyer, Jawaharlal Nehru. No, Jawaharlal Nehru was not the member of the drafting committee. The Constitution Adopt Assembly. The Constituent Assembly set up by drafting committee under the chairman of B.R. Ambedkar on 29th August 1947. On 29th August 1947, by a resolution, drafting committee was formed under the chairmanship of Dr. Ambedkar to discuss and decide the form and structure of the constitution. Next question. Who was the constitutional advisor at the time of formation of constitution? ये बहुत important है. B.N. Rao. पहला ड्राफ्ट इन्होंने सबमिट किया था. Bengal Nursing Rao was appointed as the constitutional advisor during the formation of the constitution. The first draft of the constitution was prepared by it's B.N. Rao. The first draft of the constitution was prepared by the constitutional advisor B.N. Rao, which was put before drafting committee for opinion, discussion and changes in it. Original draft proposed by Mr. Rao included 243 articles and 13 schedules. We'll see next question. When did the Constituent Assembly adopt the national flag? This question was asked in 7th 10 GPSC. It's 22nd July 1947. The national flag of India was adopted during 4th session of Constituent Assembly on 22nd July 1947. Who was the chairman of National Flag Committee? Dr. Rajendra Prasad was the chairman of National Flag Committee. There were two flag committees mentioned in the Indian history. The Flag Committee, constituted on 2nd April 1931 at Karachi session under the chairmanship of Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel. An ad hoc committee on national flag was formed on 23rd June 1947. Its chairman was Dr. Rajendra Prasad. And the question about chairman of flag committee, constituted by Constituent Assembly. Correct answer will be G. Consider the following. The design of the national flag was adopted by the Constituent Assembly of India on 22nd July 1947. Correct. The wheel in the national flag is 21 spokes long. It's at 24 spokes. The ratio of the width of the national flag to its length is 3:4. Wrong. It's 2:3. So only one will be the correct. Yes. The design of the national flag was adopted by the Constituent Assembly on 22nd July 1947. There are 24 spokes in the wheel and width to the length ratio is 2:3. When was the third reading of the Indian Constitution Assembly started? 14 November 1949, 14 November 1948, 25th November 1948 and 25th November 1949. So all the options here given are not correct because it was started on 17 November. The third reading of the Constitution by Constituent Assembly was started on 17 November 1948 and completed on 26 November 1949. So none of the options will be correct. Question 72. The Constitution of India was completed on 26 November 1949. This is also called as the Constitution Day. संविधान दिवस भी इसे मनाता है. The preamble of the Constitution states, "We, the people of India, enact, adopt, and keep to ourselves this Constitution on 26 November 1949. This date is considered as the date of adoption, completion, and passing of the Constitution. On the same date, the provisions relating to citizenship, interim parliament, emergency came in force. Rest of the provisions came into effect on 26 January 1950. Thus, 26 January 1950 is considered an enforcement date of the Constitution. 73. Indian Constitution was adopted by the Constituent Assembly on 26 November 1949. Please see the question. The Constitution of India was adopted on which date? So it's on 26 November 1949. Constitution of India came into force. Now it came into force which so that will be 26 January 1950. January 26 was selected as the date for the inauguration of the Constitution because the Congress had observed its first independence as the day. The Congress had observed it as the Independence Day in 1930. On that day, the Quit India movement started in India. You know, it was considered to be an auspicious day. So, first option will be correct. In 1930, Congress, the Purna Swaraj Declaration was promulgated by the Indian National Congress in Lahore session, December 1929, where Congress asked people of India to observe 26 January as Independence Day. After that, Congress regularly observed 26 January as the Independence Day of India. The new Constitution of India, as drafted and approved by the Constituent Assembly of India, was mandated to take effect on 26 January 1950 to commemorate the 1929 Declaration. Indian Constitution was adopted by Constitution Assembly. A will be the correct option. The Constitution was adopted by Constituent Assembly at its 11th session on 26 January 1949. The Constitution of India was enacted on 26 November 1949 by the same Constituent Assembly. The Constitution of India was adopted and enacted on 26 January 1950, 11 February 1948, 26 November 1949, and none. So correct action will be 26 November 1949. Constitution Day of India is celebrated on same, it's 26 November. यहाँ पे दिया हुआ है, just you can go through it. Same is written. B.R. Ambedkar was selected to the Constituent Assembly from Bombay Presidency. Very important question. In the preliminary election held in 1946, Dr. Ambedkar was elected from the eastern part of undivided Bengal. Later on, this region became part of Pakistan, and then Ambedkar was elected as a member of the Constituent Assembly from Pune, seat of Bombay Presidency, which was vacant after the resignation of M.R. Jaikar. Since Ambedkar was elected from East Bengal, not West Bengal, so option B is the correct answer. Year of birth and death of Dr. B.R. Ambedkar was it's 1891 1956. Dr. Ambedkar, who played a prominent role in drafting the Constitution, was born on 14th April 1891 and died on 6 December 1956. In each year was Jana Gana Mana adopted as the national anthem of India. So it was adopted in the year 1950. The Constituent Assembly adopted Jana Gana Mana as the national anthem of India on 24th January 1950. A formal rendition of the national anthem takes 52 seconds. And it was written by Rabindranath Tagore. The state emblem was adopted by Government of India on 26 January 1950. The state emblem, which is extracted from the Ashoka pillar at Sarnath, Varanasi, was adopted by the Government of India on 26 January 1950. Consider the following statement. The discussion in the third roundtable conference eventually led to the passing of Government of India Act 1935. The Government of India Act 1935 provided for the establishment of an All India Federation to be based on a union of the provinces of British India and the princely state. Which of the statements given are correct? So in this, both the statements are correct. During third roundtable conference, a plan was presented to finalize the Government of India Act 1935. In this act, provision was made to form an All India Federation comprising of states of British India and princely states. From our it is clear that both the statements are true. Third roundtable conference was organized in 1932 in London, and Congress did not participate in the conference. Statement: the Constitution of India provides for all necessities of the country. It is known or called as adopted constitution. So options are assertions and reason both are true and R is correct explanation of A. A and R both are true but R is not the correct explanation of A. A is true but R is wrong. A is wrong but R is true. So correct option will be, let's see how. The Indian Constitution is able to provide for all the necessities of the country. It is a well-versed future prospect that is contains a provision for amendments. On the other hand, it takes views and principles from the constitution of various other countries. Thus, it may be called as adopted constitution. Thus, both A and R are true, but R is not the correct explanation. So उस समय के लोगों का मतलब पता तो होना कि कुछ ना कुछ अमेंडमेंट होगा. So there they made Article 368 for the amendment of the constitution. Deferment of adult franchisee for 15 years was advocated in Constituent Assembly by Dr. Rajendra Prasad, Jawaharlal Nehru, Maulana Azad and Dr. Bhimrao Ambedkar. Our answer will be Maulana Azad. At the time of discussion of adult franchisee, Maulana Azad in Constituent Assembly pleaded for deferment of adult franchisee for 15 years, but Dr. Rajendra Prasad and Jawaharlal Nehru supported foreign adoption strongly. 89. Consider the following statement and choose the correct answer by using the codes given below. Assertion: India is a democratic country. India has a constitution of its own. Both A and R are true. R is the correct explanation of A. Both A and R are true, but R is not the correct explanation of A. A is true, but R is false. A is both A and R are false. So we know option B will be the correct answer. Q देखते नीचे. Assertion A and reason are both are correct. India is a democratic country in which important decisions of governance are taken by the elected representatives of the people. India has a written constitution. However, the United Kingdom, being a democratic country, does not have a written constitution of the. On the contrary, non-democratic countries do have some form of constitution to maneuver the functioning of the government. If it was a blur हो गया, but still you can read it. Who among the following advised that the Indian National Congress should be disbanded as a political party after the independence of India? Very famous question. C. Rajagopalachari, Jayaprakash Narayan, Acharya Kripalani, and Mahatma Gandhi. So it was the thought of Mahatma Gandhi ji. Mahatma Gandhi suggested that the Indian National Congress was formed only for achieving independence and should be disbanded as a political party after the independence of India. 91. Indian nationalist reaction. The founding fathers of Indian Constitution minimized the importance of tended to minimize the importance of minority interest and emotions. So this view is credited to Ever Jennings. The above comment was made by Sir Ivar Jennings on the provision for promotion of minorities in Indian Constitution. Provision of minorities in Indian Constitution. Constituent Assembly was Congress's Congress was India. Who said this? This was said by Austin. Important question. The statement that Constituent Assembly was Congress's Congress was India was made by the famous historian Granville Austin. How many women members were there in the Indian Constituent Assembly? So initially options are 15, 13, 12 and 10. So there were 15 members. The total number of women members in the Constituent Assembly was 15. They were Ammu Swaminathan, Annie Maskarani, Sarojini Naidu, Dakshani Velayudan G, Durgashu Deshmukh, Hansa Mehta, Kamala Chaudhary, Lashia Roy, Malak Chaudhary, Rajakumari Amrit Kaur, Renuka Rai, Purnima Banerjee, Begum Ejaz Rasool, Suchita Kripalani, and Vijay Lakshmi Pandit. Now I think the last question. The states and the central government derive power from, so it derive power from the Constitution of India. So India no one is above the Constitution. जो भी होता है संविधान के दायरे के अंदर में ही होता है. The states and the central government derive power from the Constitution of India, which is the source of all powers of the central and state government. The President, the Prime Minister, and the Parliament in India all find their mention in the Constitution itself. So friends, here we end with the first chapter of the Indian polity. After that we will start foreign impact on Indian Constitution. मतलब Indian Constitution is a borrowed, मतलब हमने सभी जगह से अच्छी अच्छी चीज़ें सभी कंट्रीज उठाई हैं. कुछ ऑस्ट्रेलिया, आयरलैंड, साउथ अफ्रीका, ब्रिटिश, रशिया, यूएस. सो वी विल सी कौन सा पार्ट हमने किस कंट्री से लिया है. There are few questions which are repeated in that, so we'll go through it. So till then, goodbye, have a nice day, and do like and subscribe the video, and do like the video and subscribe my channel. Have a good day to you. Jai Hind.